we spoke about them earlier on Arsenal. According to Simon Collins, when I was quite well respected in the Arsenal fan base, he said that Mikel Arteta confirms transfer intent and says that Arsenal are finalising a deal for Calafiori, and with Arsenal's interest in, obviously, we mentioned him already, Mikel Moreno and the winger Nico Williams. We know that Barcelona are chasing both, but Sam Collins reporting that Arsenal are going to turn their attention to those two after completing the Calafiori deal. We know that Barcelona are kind of struggling to get these deals over the line because of money. They're trying to borrow money. They keep telling the players, look, we're going to get the money together. Please stick to us. PSG have now entered the race for Nico Williams as well. Although you may not get him, you should be making a move for Nico Williams. Surely you agree with that, Dan? Like, even if he ends up picking Barcelona, you'd rather go for him than... We've just seen it with Lenny Euro. Liverpool went, nah, we're not going to bother because there's no way we're getting him. And Man United have pulled him. Would you rather go in for Nico Williams and miss out as opposed to just walk away now?
Well, listen, facts. I mean, his £49 million release clause. Activate it and let the player decide. I mean, if Arteta really wants him, he's got to sell him the project, and it's got to be a more convincing project than Barcelona. That's what he's got to. That's his job. That's Arteta and Edu's job this summer, is to try and convince Nico Williams that he can come and win a title and trophies at Arsenal, right? When a player, however, who is Spanish, has got his heart set on Barcelona, I can't help but think that he is just waiting for them to say, do you want to come? Mikel Merino, I'm sure it's very similar, but there is a lot more reports with that one that he's actually quite set on the move to Arsenal, and he's been quite convinced that Arsenal would be a good move in reports that I've seen today. So maybe that's got more legs, but that doesn't say that he doesn't look at Nico Williams, Lamine Yamal, Dani Olmo being linked with Barcelona today as well, and think, well, listen, my Euros teammates are all going there, I'll follow them. So it could be that both these players are interested in Barcelona. That is the question mark here. That is the one thing that could stop this. The Calafiori one, I think, is going to get done. I've been saying that for about 3 weeks now, but I think it is going to get done. And if we were to get Merino, Williams, and Calafiori, that's a very, very good start to our window. Very good start, because Merino comes in as the backup 8, or potentially starts with Rice if Rice is in the 6. That's a good signing. Nico Williams definitely starts, in my opinion, ahead of Trossard, and then Trossard and Martinelli try and force their way back in. And then you've obviously got Calafiori, who I think will be our left back. All of a sudden, what you've got there, Terry, is sustainability on the left-hand side of Arsenal, which is nothing that we had last season. Because last season, if you remember, we had 3 different left backs, 3 different left 8s, and 3 different left wingers, and no number 9 that really played there every single game. So the whole of our left-hand side was a complete juggle, if I'm honest with you. The right-hand side of Arsenal, we all know it. Yeah, it's set. It's Saliba and Ben White, and it's Saka and Ødegaard. But when you look at the left-hand side, sometimes Rice was playing in the 8. Havertz started in the left 8. Fabio Vieira played there. Smith Rowe played there. On the left-hand side of our forward line, Trossard eventually played there, but Martinelli was playing there for a while. Jesus played on the left for a bit. Havertz got stuck out there. I think Saka played there for one game. And left back was even worse. I mean, we had Kivior playing there for some of it. Tomiyasu a couple of games. Timber started there. Zinchenko played there. So I think he's looked at these 3 positions and thinks, right, I want that left-hand side completely revamped. I know what my right-hand side is. I need to sort out the left. So I think we will definitely see those positions filled. Whether it will be Merino, Williams and Calafiori, I don't know if all 3 of them will come. But personally, I think that they are 3 good options that are definitely going to lift and improve on what Arsenal had last season. And if I was a Man City fan, or Liverpool, if you believe you're in a title race, I would look at Arsenal and go, oh yeah, they're quite good signings. That's not what I wanted to see. As a Man City, as Liverpool fan, I'm fighting with Arsenal. I'd want to see us go for players that are washed, or particularly potentially at a huge risk. And I'm not so sure that Williams, Merino and Calafiori would be not risky players, but they're certainly going to come in and you'd think, wow, that's definitely going to improve on what they've got. So, yeah, if this happens, Arsenal fans should be excited, but it is a big if, because Barcelona may snap both of these players up.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the Williams one especially is a hard one to get done. But I've had so many gooners in my DMs. I'll tell you, why do you keep saying we should bid for him? We're probably not going to get him. We should look elsewhere. I don't get this logic, LB. I didn't think Man United would get Lenny Euro. Now, I understand Nico Williams is a much bigger profile at the minute because he's been around longer, he's achieved more. But I'd United fan going, so I'd rather us not focus on Lenny. We probably won't get him. What? Because a few idiots online might banter you if you get rejected. So what? At the end of the day, imagine Arsenal don't bid today. They don't bid today, don't bid at all. And Barca don't raise the money. And you've missed the opportunity. It doesn't make sense. Put the bid in, get it accepted, make a massive offer to the player based on what you think he's worth, and then give him a decision to make. I don't understand why anyone who isn't who's heavily interested in Williams is just letting Barcelona sign him with no challenge. It makes no sense to me at all. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm too old school. Maybe I don't get it. Maybe I don't understand that the PR is more important. But it seems weird to me how fans, especially, are reluctant for their clubs to put their sort of head above the parapet.
Yeah, weird, isn't it? Weird. I agree. I think if he's available, put them. Listen, as well, you can give him a deadline. You know what I mean? You can put the bid in and say, listen, Nico, this is the bid. Obviously, we've activated your release clause. We know that Barca are interested. We know that maybe you've got interest on Barca. Our bid is valid for a week. After that, we're moving on. We ain't gonna wait forever. You know what I mean? So then you sort of play a bit of poker and say, well, listen, if you decide not to join within a week deadline or whatever, and then Barca can't raise the funds, then you're staying where you are, bro. You put the pressure on him a little bit, man. At the end of the day, like Arsenal said when they moved to the Emirates, they're doing it to compete with these teams. That's not just competing with them on the pitch, 11v11 in the Champions League. It's competing with them off the pitch. And guess what? Sometimes on the pitch you lose. Sometimes off the pitch you lose. We went for Jude Bellingham. We lost. We lost the deal. You know what I mean? But you still got to try. You still got to fight. Arsenal now, for me, if they're interested in this player and they want the player, put the bid in, activate whatever clause it is, yeah, and see what happens and fight for the player. Otherwise, again, you're just sort of acting like this beta club, like, oh, no, we can't compete with this team. It's like, no, like, not being funny, yeah, Arsenal are a massive team. You know, they're a massive football club. They've got loads of money, yeah. It's obviously in London as well, which is a lot of people like living in London. So do it, man. Go and activate the release clause. Be the big club, man. Start throwing, your muscle around. You're competing for Premier Leagues now, 2 years on the bounce. You know what I mean? You've got to start challenging Barca. You've got to start challenging Real Madrid, the cities of the world, the Bayerns. Otherwise, you're never going to progress. This is what I'm saying with City, man. The players that we're signing now, if Real Madrid wouldn't have signed the player, if they wouldn't have got in the Real Madrid team or the Barca team or the Bayern team, I don't want them. I don't want them because that's what you got to do. You got to compete with these teams. So I don't get it, man. And if the player rejects you, so what? Who cares? You move on to the next one and you trust that your board is going to get the next best guy,
I agree. Puck here says, Terry, not everyone operates like United offering treble to get the player. Well, let's make this right. No one is turning around and saying Arsenal should offer 3 times the release clause. No one's saying they should bid £150 million for the player. Man United didn't bid treble the market value of Lenny Euro. We bid the market value, which was around 50 million euros. So we paid his going rate, which Lille accepted. It wasn't our fault that other clubs undervalued him based on market forces. Now, secondly, I actually disagree with you. I think if you look at the difference between Arsenal and Man United, Arsenal and City, Arsenal and Real Madrid, Arsenal and Barcelona over the last 20 years. And Man United have had some good times in that and some awful times in that. The one thing Arsenal haven't done on a regular enough basis is go to a player and say, look, I know that you've just been offered 150 grand a week by Barca. There's 180, there's 200,000, there's 220,000. We want you, making it happen. Sitting on, and I've always had this argument with Gooners, and you all know in the last couple of years, especially, I must have praised your club for doing the right thing. And one of the biggest areas I praised you in was, look at you renewing all these deals. The amount of times I've seen Arsenal lose their best players when it comes to getting a new deal because they haven't been prepared to pay the going rate. You've now moved up a level. Now, when you want to sign the top players who will improve you further, they have to come in on that top money. Because you're not a team that's in development stage anymore. You're in a team that should be in win mode. And when you're buying a player, the only way you get Nico Williams is by saying we are this close to Premier League and Champions League glory and you're going to get us over the line. You were going to be a mainstay first-team player. Fair enough, he hasn't done the groundwork at Arsenal that the others have done, but he comes in on the same money, if not more. That is the way every other top football club has worked. All those clubs, predominantly all those clubs, you always get your outliers like Leicester that have won the Prem and or won the Champions League in the last 25 years. That is typically how they operate. So don't act like Man United in the last 10 years, because we had absolute clowns running our football club. But there comes a point where you can't just say, yeah, but we had the best net spend. Yeah, but pound for pound, you look at our wage bill versus City, our wage bill versus Madrid, our wage bill versus, we're still the real winners. You've got to say, no, let's break it, because breaking that barrier with a good team leads to trophies, which leads to more money. There comes a point where you've got to speculate to accumulate. So don't boil this down to United have wasted money in the past. I don't want us to waste money. You're not operating. You ain't got Woodward running you. You've been run really well in the last few years. You're in a good space. Go and spend the money. Break the bank a little bit. This idea that if you break the bank, it's going to create a negative culture at your club is wrong. Wasting money on players that are not needed, that are not of the right standard, and adding them to a toxic environment, that messes things up. But you're not that club anymore. It's a positive place. It's been, and I'm being a little sarcastic when I say this. Arteta fixed it, right? So if he's fixed your culture, how could signing one of the best attackers in the world break it? It can't. Why doesn't it break Real Madrid? Why? Why didn't it break City when they signed top players? Why did it never break Man United when we were run well? It doesn't. Genuinely, my friend. Again, Arsenal so close. Now, I don't want them to as a Man United fan. I want everyone to foul and go backwards, and I want us to progress. But I look at it, for 49 million euros for a player of his quality, he's a £100 million player. What you're saving because of the buyout clause, stick some of it into his wages. Pay his agent an extra 5 million. Say, listen, bruv, I'll give you 5 million cash if you convince him. That is what all the biggest, the most successful clubs do. If you don't act the same, you're not going to end up with the same end results of those trophies. Trust me.
You know what?
You've got to show the ambition for sure. You got to show the ambition.
I just want to come on that point as well on sort of like the money and the wages and situation. Yeah, no one ever questions the money of the top players when they're getting paid 300 to 500 grand a week when they're good. No one questions Haaland getting paid 500 grand a week. No one questions Kevin De Bruyne getting paid 500 grand. Why? Because they're delivering. Haaland's scoring 40, 50 goals a season. Do you know what I mean? In my own fan base right now, we're looking at our wage bill and we're questioning the likes of Phillips. Why is Phillips on 150k a week? No one's questioning why Rodri is on 250 or Haaland's on 500. No one's questioning why Saka's on 250k at Arsenal. You'll be questioning the poor players. If you think Nico Williams is a baller and you think Nico Williams is a player that can take you up a level, you are obligated, in my opinion, as a football club to buy the player. In my view, you cannot just sit with a worse player just because you might have to pay more money. Like, at the end of the day, if they think Nico Williams is as good as he is, and they have to pay him 300k a week, and then just do it. Because if you think he's better than Martinelli or you think he's better than Trossard, then for me, you're obligated as a football club to buy it, especially when it's 49 million quid as a release clause, which is just a joke, man.
I agree. And there's a comment here from DJ that says, oh my God, we're going to have to suffer with this. Look what we did to Madrid on Euro. It's nothing to do with that per se. The only element that's similar is there's so many comments saying, well, Williams only wants Barca. But we heard that about Euro. Terry, but Fabrizio also said that Barca are only focused on Williams. Yes, and Fabrizio also said that they're still trying to convince Williams to agree to join them. So none of what you're saying to me makes sense. This is nothing to do with Man United getting Lenny Euro per se. All I'm saying is this. I think there are some Arsenal fans that don't want to pursue him, and they're happy for their club not to pursue him because that way they weren't rejected. But you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It doesn't make sense to me. You should be doing it. If you believe the same report from credible outlets that Nico Williams, you will make a move from Williams because he's your number one attacking target if the deal for Barca falls through. I don't understand why you're allowing it to get to that point.
If he doesn't want to come to Arsenal, it's not because Arsenal are an absolute mess and they look terrible. And my God, why the hell would you want to go and play for them? It's because he wants to stay in Spain and play for Barcelona. There's a lot of Spanish players that would love to do that. Yeah, he's looking at Lamine Yamal. He's looking at other players that they're going to be signing. He's also looking at what they've already got. And potentially he likes that move. That doesn't mean that he does not like Arsenal when it comes. So the fan base should not be sensitive about that and delicate about it, in my opinion. I actually understand why some of the chat are mentioning Euro, because for me, I thought Manchester United did absolutely the right thing. Was, oh, he wants Real Madrid. Well, okay, see if he wants Real Madrid now. Boom, you get him. That's exactly what Arsenal should be doing. He wants Barcelona. See if he wants Barcelona now.
And as long
down 250k a week and activate his release clause.
And if we'd have done this Euro deal a couple of years ago under Woodward, I'd be worried about it, because I don't trust his judgment, and I believe it would have been about money. But I don't believe that Barada and Ashworth and co would accept that. I think they'd be looking at the player and his attitude, what they're talking about. Does he really want to be here? And yeah, money's an important part. But I think if you're an Arsenal fan and you trust your board, which a lot do, if you trust Edu, you trust Arteta, I don't think they would say Williams only says yes if you offered him ridiculous money, and there was no, well, where would I play? What, tell me about the project, tell me about what you're trying to do. If it was all just about, well, how much are you going to pay me, then I would agree, walk away. If it's only about money, you would walk away. But you also trust your club. And if you trust the people that are making those decisions, then it shouldn't matter if it's because you're offering him lots of money as well, because you know they're not going to make a decision that's going to ruin your dressing room. I just find it weird that there's so many fans at every club, this isn't specific to Arsenal, that are like, well, there's no point bidding for him, we might not. Liverpool fans did it with Euro. A lot of United fans did it with Lenny Euro. They were like, well, no, we're just going to get rejected. What's the point? Well, give it a go.
You know, you can also do Terry as well. You can also say to Nico Williams, look, Barca are broke, right? They might not be able to afford you. Put the deadline bid in, yeah. Say you've got a week to accept our bid or not. And then when you're doing the contract, you can always say to him, look, in 2-3 years, we can insert some sort of release clause available to Barcelona or whatever at a certain price to allow you to go back to Barcelona should that football club come in. We see these clauses all the time in players' contracts where, oh, if a Spanish team comes back in for me, then I want to go back to Spain. They could have done that. Now, they would have to deal with the whole, oh, he's using you as a stepping stone. But who cares, man? If Nico Williams comes in and helps Arsenal improve in 2-3 years, but then he goes back to Spain in 3 years' time, but Arsenal won the Premier League or the Champions League and Nico Williams scored the winner, you think Popsy's going to be sitting here saying, oh, I wish we never signed him, he used us as a stepping stone? Is he hell, man? Just do it.